The pink mic is back. I am back on camera again. I'm filming this video wearing a Steve Jobs uniform because I'm in business. My roll neck unfortunately is not by Issei Miyake, and since I'm not sponsored by the fruits products or anything, we're not gonna talk more about this. But this video is sponsored by the fruit of my labor. So please check out my imprint and my coffee shop so I can upgrade my business uniform and my equipment. So you want to start with digital art but don't know where to begin? In this video I will give you all my tips I would love to hear almost 3 years ago when I was just a beginner. This video will be divided into chapters so you can skip to any parts of the video that you feel is relevant to you. It will be more of a chatty video, so if you do not want to hear all of the tips, then this is the first step to failure. I'm sorry to tell you that. It's not going to be a video with very easy tips on how to draw in like a week. No, it takes time, I can already tell you this. So if you are not prepared to put in the work, it's not going to work. So this is the first step. You need to decide that you want to draw and you need to begin. Hi everyone, my name is Kamila and I'm a hobbyist artist. I used to do traditional art, but right now my whole channel is about digital art. Please check out my channel and subscribe. Like this video if you like it. I don't know. So starting off with a little bit of my background with digital art. I'm a hobbyist artist and I've picked up digital art almost 3 years ago. Before that I used to do a lot of watercolor paintings and I was always involved in art, so it was not something that I was starting out with from scratch. I already had some skills, some art skills, some basic anatomy, perspective, colors, everything like that. So it was not something that was completely new to me. I've always drawn, that was something that I just liked to do. I used to draw a lot of watercolor portraits and sometimes landscapes and florals. With watercolor, you need to have the drawing skills. It's not only about the paint, you need to begin with a sketch. So I was already quite familiar with my style, with drawing. That was not something that was new to me. However, when I started drawing digitally, it was a complete disaster. I did not know, I felt like I could not draw at all, which was very weird because I knew how to draw on paper, but I did not know how to use properly my equipment, even though I did have some experience with graphic programs like Photoshop and GIMP and such things. So I also knew more or less how to use the software, but my issue was that I did not know how to use my equipment, which was in my case a very simple graphic tablet without a screen. So this is something that I use till now. I did not change my equipment, I still use the same tablet that I've began with. And I was just practicing, I kept practicing, that's it. So my point number 2 is to acknowledge your skill set. First important question is to ask yourself if you are just starting out with art in general or if you are starting out with digital art like I was. And also you need to ask yourself, are you a beginner artist or an intermediate artist, or maybe you are advanced? When I started with digital art, I would call myself like an intermediate artist. I already knew like the basics of art. And also you need to ask yourself, what is your goal? So if you are just a hobbyist artist, I don't think you need to follow like a specific route. You just can draw and paint whatever you like. But if you want to follow a more academic route with art schools, you would take a completely different route. You need to focus more on sketching from real life, sketching people, sketching still life. But it's always important to start from basics, whether you are a complete beginner and you want to pursue art in like a more academic way, or if you want to pursue art in general. When you have no idea where to start, just start from basics. I think it very differs. If you've been always interested in art, then it would just naturally come to you. For example, I have never done any like studies or anything like that. I was very bored by the concept of drawing like still life. It was never an interest of mine. So just naturally by drawing whatever I liked, my skills developed. But if I were to start from scratch, I would definitely start drawing like very simple things if I had no idea where to begin with art in general. But if I would like to start with digital art from scratch, I think you can just pick up your digital equipment like your tablet and just start from there, because it very differs. When you start drawing on paper, then it won't be as easy to convert that skill into digital art, because you need to know how to use your equipment. So whether you want to start with art, like you want to paint, you need to learn how the paint works, you need to experiment, you need to train yourself how to use that paint. And the same goes into the tablets, the digital softwares and everything like that. So it is also a different type of skill and different type of medium. Like, for example, you don't use watercolor the same as oil paint. The same with digital art. You won't be using, for example, a tablet without a screen the same way you would use a tablet with a screen. Or, for example, a software, software or a different software. So whatever you use, you need to learn how to use your equipment. So whether you are a beginner, a complete beginner, or just a beginner with digital art, just position yourself where would be the best point to start for you, because it's very individual, I think. So my point number 3 is equipment. And actually you can start with very basic things, digital art. Basically you don't need to invest a lot of money to start digital art. There are a lot of softwares and a lot of equipment on the market, but you can simply buy a tablet for very cheap, or for example second-hand. I got mine. Not only was it the simplest tablet I could find, I think it was the cheapest tablet also, but also I got it second-hand, so it was very affordable. It was almost brand new. I don't think the person that sold this tablet was using it a lot. It does not have a lot of features, but I think for a beginner it's just fine. This is the Wacom Intuos Draw, and I think that was the simplest tablet they had at the time. I bought it like in 2015, but to be quite honest, I haven't used it up until like 3 years ago. I was so frustrated that I had no idea how to use this that I just stopped. I kept drawing traditionally. I kept going with watercolor painting instead of digital art. But just then, a few years ago, I was so done with traditional art. I wanted to try something new, so that's why I picked up digital art and I wanted to learn. I was very dedicated then to learn this medium. Now for the software, I started with Krita and I have a lot of tutorials on my channel on my tips and tricks I learned along the way of using this software. I love Krita. It is completely free, even though you can donate to the project individually. You can just submit the payment if you do enjoy the software and the work. Krita is... It is not sponsored by Krita, but I just love them. They are so passionate about the project. They update the software constantly, and also there are a lot of many talented people behind this program. And it is completely free, and honestly it is just so good. You really don't need like a very expensive software just to start. Of course, then you can upgrade, you can try different things, but to be quite honest, then I've bought Rebel. There was like a sale going on and I bought that software, but I couldn't be bothered to learn it, to be quite fair with you, and I'm just still continuing with Krita. But of course you can buy a different software, but Krita is free and it is just like any other professional software. So if you don't want to invest a lot of money from the very beginning, you can just start with Krita. Now for references, it is also a little bit problematic to find references sometimes, especially the free to use references. So I can recommend the Unsplash website for this. They have many high quality images that you can use for references, for anything you would like. Basically they are just free, but I've seen that they have also added Unsplash Plus, where you can get other images, and I think there is like a subscription for it, but most of the photos on there is for free, so you can use them for references and for anything for your art. Basically I use a lot of the textures from the website for my backgrounds and for other tricks and elements of my paintings. So for example, Krita has their own built-in reference system. There is like a pin icon that you can find, and when you click that, you can import a picture next to your drawing, next to your file on Krita, and in that way you will have all of your references surrounding your image. But if, for example, you are using a different program, different software, there is also another reference app that I really like. It is also free, but you can donate to them, and it's called Pureref. It's a great app. You have like a window that you can size up or down however you would like. You can make the pictures bigger, smaller, you can zoom in, zoom out. So it is very useful. It always is on top of your screen. Doesn't matter what software you are using. Sometimes I feel like I can do more with the Pureref app. Sometimes it is more useful depending on the size of my painting, or how many references photos I have. Sometimes the Pureref is more useful than, for example, the built-in Krita reference docker. So you can use both. I use both. Sometimes the Krita one, sometimes the Pureref. The next point is to practice with your tablet. For me, that was the most difficult part. I had no idea how to use that tablet. I felt like I could not draw at all. So when I figured what is my main restriction, then it got easier for me. So my main restriction was that I could not synchronize my hand with what I had in my head, and to like basically draw on a tablet. That was for me the most difficult. So if you are like me, what I would suggest to do is either first draw your drawings on paper and then scan your drawings and transport them into your computer, and then just trace. Just trace your sketches, your traditional sketches, on your digital tablet. It will help you tremendously just to work with your hand on the tablet. Or if you, for example, don't have a scanner, you can take a photo. What you can also do is, for example, you can download the photo from Unsplash and just trace the photo. Just practice your hand movements on the tablet. It will be so much easier if you have something underneath that and just train your hand. It will get easier with time. When you are just starting out, just trace. It will be the best exercise that you can do. Just trace. Of course, do not trace drawings of other artists, but just use the free photos or your own sketches. Then, if you are already familiar with your hand movements on the tablet, then you can start to use references. It is very hard to draw or paint just from your imagination. And then when you have your reference photo, when you put it next to your painting, you can just look at your reference like you would do in traditional art and just try to copy. This is what I still do. All of the artists use references. It is so much easier when you look at something to draw it. Then you can modify the reference. So when you, for example, check out any of my other videos when I cover my illustration process, you will see that it is not a direct copy of my reference, but I take bits of my references from different photos, from different pictures to create my painting. So this is how you use a reference. But it is very useful regardless if you are a beginner artist or advanced. The next point is to learn your software. So before you start getting frustrated that you cannot do something or you do not know how to do it, if you are a complete beginner to any of the softwares, just first watch the tutorials. Watch a lot of videos how people are using the software, what you can do in that software, how to use the basic tools. At first you will be using just the basic tools, so you don't need to watch all of the tutorials. Just watch a few beginner-friendly tutorials that would show you a few basic tools that you will be using over and over again to practice, because at first you would need a lot of practice, and then when you progress, then you can add more tools. You can learn more tips and tricks to make your paintings more interesting, but just start with the basics. For example, for Krita, they have their own YouTube channel that is so useful both for the beginners and also for advanced artists, because you will learn the most from those long, like live stream type of videos where the person shows you step by step exactly what they are doing. When you go to those like TikTok tutorials where they show you in 30 seconds how to do this or that, you will just get frustrated. When you are just starting out, you need to have a very simple but very detailed tutorial to show you what to do step by step. So unfortunately, you need to take this like a class. You need to watch a lot of videos. Probably at the beginning it won't be very like entertaining, because you will feel like you are taking a class, but there is no other way to learn. You just need to watch how other people are doing it, just to make your own life easier and your own journey easier. My next point is to experiment. Like I said, what I did at first when I picked up digital art, I just did a lot of experiments with some art styles, just to see what I can do with the software, what style looked the best for me and what I wanted to continue going forward. So at first I thought I would do like more oil painting inspired paintings, and also I've watched a lot of videos where people on YouTube would show their techniques on how to paint digitally, and everything was very like oil painting inspired. But I did try it. I struggled a little bit with this, and in the end I decided it was not the art style that I want to continue going with, so naturally it just shifted to watercolor again. So here we are. We started with watercolor and we are ending with watercolor. Like, the watercolor curse will just follow me everywhere, I think. So yes, experiment with different styles, different techniques, different tools that you can use. Just play with your software, and sooner or later you will find something that works for you. And the last tip, it is not a tip. You just need to practice, and that's the main thing. You just need to do it. A lot of tips, but when it comes to it, you just need to practice. It will get easier with time, but there is no other way. You just need to practice a lot. And just start with simple steps. Like I said, start with the basics and focus on things that bring you joy. And I think that is the end of the video. Those were all of my tips that I could give you. I think maybe I will do like a continuation of this video, but I think that's everything that I can advise you about at this point, this time. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, you can check out my Krita playlist with all of the tutorials that I have, or you can check out my drawing process if you are interested to see what I'm doing. If you want to buy any of my artworks as prints, I do have an imprint, and also I do have a few like digital wallpapers and some digital stickers that you can also print out on my Ko-fi, so you can check that out as well. But anyways, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye. I can't believe I forgot to film my intro. I think I forgot. Anyways, hi guys, my name is Kamila, and what? Also, we do not support Wacom anymore, so if you are going to buy a digital tablet, we kinda are hating them now, because there was like a scandal recently where they did not hire an actual artist to draw their campaign. They used an AI art, which we do not like. So think about it when you do want to buy a graphic tablet. And for my rings, they are vintage. This one is from my grandma. It's like a ruby, red ruby. So you can, I don't know if you can buy this anywhere. It's just so unique and so original. No. I will also show you my flowers. I will show you Linda. I didn't look at her today, but she has her second little flower now. Yesterday she only had this one, but today this one opened as well. Oh, it's like a miniature orchid. I've had it like for like 2 or 3 years, and she's still going strong.